welcome to another episode of Rift News, the show most people check to see if they missed an important news. In most cases they haven't, but this time around I may have a new thing or two. Though usually we have a lot of different pieces of news to talk about, but today we will talk about fewer but more important things. So strap into your chairs because we have some deciphering to do. And as always, let's start with what's happening in League. The live client is relatively peaceful. The only thing that happened there is that the Crime City skins came live. And PBE is also relatively simple. The only new thing, besides the new assets for the Pentakill Chromas, are the new loot assets, which are likely related to the 10th anniversary for League as part of Garena. So besides the Phoenix skins, which we have talked about last time, there will also be the Full Moon Capsule, which gives you 3 random skin charts, but it also has a 4% chance to give you a Song Peon bag. I legitimately have no idea what that word means. But hilariously enough, if you open it, you will get 3 food or feast related skin shards. And also a random bonus, which can be anything from more skins to gemstones. But since there aren't too many food related skins, I mean that could be an understatement, but at least the chances for the guaranteed skins are pretty narrow. With all of that said, once again all of this is likely related to the 10th anniversary for Asia, so this may not even come to the rest of the world. We are yet to see what's happening with these. The last League related thing on PBE is that people keep giving Riot the same feedback regarding the Pentakill 3 Lost Chapter Yorick. Hopefully, I believe that I don't really have anything to do with this. I genuinely believe that people keep commenting about the hat, with most people not seeing the last Rift news. So in short, I am proud of the community, but unfortunately, still we haven't heard anything new about Pentakill Yorick. Alas, poor hat. However, even though that is it for the League related things on PBE, while last week we only got the string of codes pointing at new possible little legends, now we finally got the pictures as well, so let's have a look at these. All of these are called Ink Tales, and since this entire TFT set is about fantasy, this will be probably related to some fantasy written in ink. The first new little legend, or at least an augmented little legend, is Aoshin. The Ink Tales Aoshin is pretty much the original Aoshin, but it's a bit more Asian themed. For example, here he does have the classic Chinese dragon beard. There is the Azure one, which is mostly black and white, the Ember one, which is obviously red, then there is the Galeborn, which is themed around wind, a Terra Aoshin, and Dark Spark Aoshin, which is likely going to be the legendary. What's interesting about these is that each of these versions has their own little bio. All the bios mention that Aoshin in general is a musician. The Azure version is a water dragon, Ember is his fiery brother, and Galeborn is his windy brother. The Terra Aoshin likes to stick to the ground, which means it is likely the Earth dragon. And the Dark Spark is simply somewhere in Cosmos. Besides Aoshin, we also got a new Feather Knight. And this one lives up to the Ink Tales name, because it actually has an inky brush. There is an Ember version, which likes to dance with fire, Dark Spark, which revels in the darkest storms, Galeborn, which is drawn to whispering winds, Azure, which appreciates the deepest waters, and Terra, which uses the colors of the earth to paint a better world. Now usually the most out there chroma version of these is the legendary. That's why I thought that it would be the Dark Spark Aoshin. But here I wouldn't be surprised if the Terra Feather Knight was the legendary. Anyway, lastly, we are also getting a new Petalmar. Which, I have to be honest, am I the only one who finds it creepy to see a turtle with human hair? What's going on here? Regardless, just like the others, there is the Azure version, based on water, Dark Spark, which here is absolutely the most unique one. This one is actually covering the hair with a helmet, so it is obvious this one will be the legendary. So if that's the case, Dark Spark Feather Knight will also be the legendary. Then there is Terra Petalmar with blonde hair. Then there is Galeborn Petalmar, which looks a bit more bold than the other ones, with probably the coolest version being the Ember Petalmar, which looks a little bit more like a dragon than a turtle. However, that is it for PBE for TFT as well. So now, let's move on to the other new really cool things. When it comes to Pentakill, The Twitter of Riot's music actually gave us some really cool puzzles. But before we get to that, I wanna play the last part of the Pentakill story, because this is the starting point of the community figuring out what is happening. So pay attention to Viego's words and pay attention to what's happening. Right after this, I'll explain what's happening and what the community figured out so far.
Can you hear it? The relentless ticking away of your lives. Tick, save, tick, repeat, over and over. This world is stale and unchanging. Your passion and dedication is wasted in the preservation of something that cannot ever be greater than what it is. If only you knew how easily we might do away with the tired and the predictable. With innovation, counterpoint, dissonance. There is another way, my friends. I can show you. Help me unlock the transcendent music that exists beyond this miserable gray veil. Will you help me do it?
So, I know Viego's voice is really cool, and funnily enough, I have to say, I think we have another Seraphine on our hands. Except this time Seraphine looks really cool. You see, just like Seraphine, whose KDA lore was quite cool, and whose normal lore was quite garbage, Viego is in a similar boat. Now, to be honest, Viego's base lore is good. Despite everything that happened during the Ruination, it is honestly fine and interesting. But somehow, his Pentakill lore is even cooler. I won't spoil where the Pentakill story is heading, but in case you missed it, on Universe we got the first part of the lore covering the Pentakill universe. Remember how in the trailer we learned about the first 3 gods of music of this universe? Well, in that first part of the story, we learned that there may be a 4th one. And that's the one Viego is following. Speaking of which, I quickly want to mention another thing. Remember how during the KDA interviews, Evelyn was often talking about Pentakill Chords? Well, if Pentakill and KDA are in the same universe, that means that the universe where True Damage and KDA have their music performances is the same universe which at the beginning of time was forged by those old gods. This and this is the same universe, which is not a plot hole at all. If this is true, it just made the universe really cool. Because if this is supposed to be the normal world with quote-unquote normal lives, it's cool that this world started like that. It's a really creepy parallel to our own world. Who knows how we started? But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Now, on to the puzzles. Right after the last video, on Twitter we got another teaser. But this one plays a simple music clip as the shot goes to the Temporonomicon, which is the giant godly metronome. And this revealed something that could be very slightly concerning, but I honestly think it is cool. The voice which you can hear is basically Viego. What you can hear in the background is still metal music, but the metal songs will likely have a new singer that will be more akin to the modern styles of music. For me personally, the voice heavily reminded me of something like The Ghost and Stuff when Deadmau5 remastered it into a video clip. The voice is nearly identical. So yeah, it seems like the metal music will stay, but with the genre we may get closer to electric metal, something like the old school Linkin Park except a bit more heavy. The reason why I said that this might be concerning is because Riot is doing it again. They are prettifying things, but we don't want pretty things. The point of Pentakill is that Pentakill was always aimed for the core metal audience. There is KDA, there is True Damage, but then on the opposite side of the spectrum, there is still Pentakill. Now Pentakill shifted a bit closer to the more broader audience, which once again I think is fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people were disappointed. Anyway, after the teaser revealing the new genre, we got another puzzle. This time it was just a video revealing bunch of numbers. Now, originally I thought that these were guitar tabs. But no, these just turned out to be a phone number. If you call this number, you can actually listen to another teaser for a specific song. I mean, you can hear the electric guitar at the beginning, which kinda gives me Doom vibes, but it is so distorted, it is really just a tease. Some people think that if you reverse it, you can actually hear a voice saying numbers, but maybe they should close the glue under their noses. But after this teaser, we got to the last one, which turned into an entire new puzzle. We covered all of this on stream, and so if you go to our second channel, you can actually find the VOD from all of this. It all started with another short video. This time it was just a rune being carved into the Temporonomicon, the giant metronome. Here we have a quote from Viego. This morning I noticed strange etchings on the Temporonomicon side. How odd, it wasn't here before. Someone must have left them here long ago. And every hour after that, Riot posted pieces of a picture. And after waiting 3 hours, we pieced it all together. All you really had to do was align the runes and the sides. This is where the real fun started. You may notice that if you have a look at the picture as it is now, all the different letters do kind of line up with the different runes. And so naturally what we did is that we went to the original teaser and we looked for the runes in the cinematic. There we tried to decipher it with this picture, but we quickly realized that it was nonsense. And so, upon looking at this cipher again, we realized the inner circle could be actually turned. And so we spent some time cutting out the inner circle, and then we started spinning it. The issue now was that we didn't know how we were supposed to spin it. We didn't really have any clues for that. So, we brute forced it. We found a 4-letter word, and we simply twisted the inner circle until we got a proper word out of it. That word was Yor. Yor! That's it! So after that, we knew we found the right answer. I then spent some time turning the cipher into a more usable image. If you want, you can find it on my Twitter. And after posting it, people immediately started deciphering what they could find in the cinematics. What you can mostly find is people saying that the gods lie, and that everyone is losing their minds, and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it was nothing that would reveal anything new. But there was one cool way that you could apply this. It turns out, if you go to the teasers before the last teaser, the one that was talking about all the Pentakill band members, the different tarot cards, or whatever those are, have those runes on them as well. And so we learned that each of the band members has their own title. So Sona is Savior, Olaf is Killer, Mordekaiser is Titan, Kael is Queen, Karthus is Leader, and Yorick is Loyal. It's cool, but that's pretty much it. So until Riot gives us more things which we could decipher, we are stuck now. With that said, there is the last part of this cipher. The numbers next to the letters and the innermost circle. The innermost circle flew totally past me, but now it makes sense. They are chords. Depending on if the eyes have a dot above them or not, you can see if it is lowercase or uppercase. Therefore, it could be a major or minor chord. So these are minor first, major third, major sixth, minor first, major sixth, minor fourth. These highly likely reveal a chord progression. If you simply pick a scale, you can assign the chords to that scale and get something like this. Of course, depending on what scale you pick, the pitch of this chord progression will go up or down, and in some cases it can change. But no matter how you apply it, in general you should get a tease of a chord progression in one of the new Pentakill songs. This would likely mean that the numbers around the letters are the tempo. But right now I have no idea how to apply the tempo to the chords. It could be the time between the chords, which together could actually reveal how the song is supposed to be played, but the tempo doesn't align with the chords. So right now, that's the only thing about this that I don't know how to solve. And until we get more stuff about Pentakill, that is all we have. Actually, yesterday we got another teaser, and today we got another one after that. The one we got yesterday simply showed us this. It was a spinning circle. I thought it was showing us how to rotate the inner circle, but apparently it was a phone. You know, for all the zoomers, this kind of a phone. This meant that if you called back to the original number, the message you got changed. And now, brace yourselves, we heard this.
Here's you, my child. Change is coming. The old songs are dead. From distant skies I have seen your treason. Embrace this dissonance. Look beyond and witness me. To find the keepers you must listen. How many times does your heart beat in a minute? Listen.
Okay, come out of your hiding, we have to have a look at the other teaser now. The one we got today showed us this. Once again, it showed us the Temporonomicon, but around it you can see that things are getting suspiciously red, which is referring to the red power that Viego is channeling. You know, the power of the fourth god. And this was pretty much confirmed in the description of the teaser. It is referring to the new message from the phone number. The voice you found, it was not of this world. Some greater power is at play here. I am convinced of that now. What beautiful music from beyond. Has the voice already shown us the way of the forbidden god? Yes, he is likely referring to Dissonance, the fourth forgotten god, which explains the name of the skin, Dissonance of Pentakill Viego. But that is where we are right now. We are awaiting the arrival of the forbidden god. Now, leaving Pentakill behind, let's go to something a bit more social. Riot is rebranding League Plus to Riot Mobile. The reasons are obvious. If you're not aware, League Plus is the mobile app, which you can use to chat with people in League on your phone. The reason why it is now being turned into Riot Mobile is because Riot has a lot more games than just League now. And so, on October the 4th, League Plus will be upgraded to Riot Mobile. This upgrade will give the app a new look and feel. Specifically, the launch features include player profiles, which is interesting because we still don't have that in League. Riot doesn't have something like the BattleNet. They don't have a place where you can have a profile across all of your games. So it is interesting to see that before getting their own game hub, they are putting it into the mobile app. Anyway, then there is the cross-game and cross-region chat, which, once again, it's like BattleNet, but Riot doesn't have that for PC. I mean, cross-game chat is still technically there, but you have to be logged into one of the games. But cross-region, I believe, is new. I can now have Nicky Boy on my friend list. And lastly, there are new ways to find friends and start conversations. This would be awesome if 90% of the player base didn't suffer from anxiety. But besides the social features, you will also get some news. The app will now show you news from League of Legends, Wild Rift, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra and Teamfight Tactics. And if you only care about one of the games, you can filter the other ones out. That's pretty much what should be there around the launch. But in the future, they mentioned that they will also try to include esports in there. So watching streams will also likely be a possibility, as well as improved experience when checking out your match history. Which is interesting because at the same time, Riot is also removing the improved match history from their website. It's the thing that not many people used. So just know that it will be permanently taken offline on September the 7th. Lastly, they talked about some fixes which they pushed out for the app. It's mostly just crashes and the fact that the app can actually delete your chat history. I don't see that as a bad thing necessarily. And at the end we were told that you can now install the League Plus, which will be later upgraded into Riot Mobile, or you can just wait for the new app. But that is it. And now for the last piece of news, we are moving to Valorant. There we got a teaser for possibly a new champion. I mean, it's been a while since we have gotten that image, but since it is only showing a bullet, it honestly could be just a new skin line. Which wouldn't be unsurprising because the color theme here is very close to Astra. I wonder how Riot will differentiate them from her. But besides this, we also got a very quick new teaser for a new map called Fracture. It's really just this shot. It looks like a Radianite reactor which couldn't quite handle the Radianite. Or maybe someone broke in. Regardless, this will likely be linked to the new champion, but my bets are still on that guy. It fits with what Riot is trying to do. They look different from the other agents, they have their own special gun that could be referencing the bullet, but by far what's most important, they are pretty, they would fit right in.